everyone. So we're going back to what we used to do on the channel, which was do weekly overviews. And I thought this was a good time as I got a lot of the mentorship ready and set aside. So this will free up my time to do this. I wanted to do it live, but apparently I'm in a 24-hour verification to get access to live. Even though I did live streams when I started the channel. I don't know. Weird. So we're not live this time. I have to film and render this. So let's just go into the weekly overview. I'll show you how I do it, and let's see what we could possibly see next week in the market. So I've been trading NQ lately. It moves more for my shorter type of trades. So I'm finding more success over here now that I'm testing and actually live trading over here. So we'll be looking at NQ, but whatever you're trading, even if it's something else, you will click on it and then figure out which one has more volume right now. So if I look at the NQ, NQM24 for June, it still has more volume than the other one. So we are going to stick with NQ until it switches, and then we'll go to the other contract once it, has more volume. Another way to check is if you go back and you click on actual NASDAQ, it will show you the contracts, and then you can see open interest. There's still more over here on the June contract versus September, so we will be trading the June one right now. So now once we get into the contract we are going to trade for the week, we are going to do full chart, and it's going to bring you over to this. I already set it up, but so what you're going to do is click study, do this top one right here, commitment of trader chart, add that in, and I took off the blue line, which I believe is small if I remember correctly. Yeah, so I took small spec off just because it kind of sits around the middle. It's kind of like, I'll add it so you could see it right now. And I'll kind of explain what the blue line I use for, but really it's easier for me just not to use it. So the way this works and what I'm looking at is if there's a bigger gap in between the green and the red, for me that's usually means higher price movement, right? Look at price is moving, right? And then as soon as we start to come in this range right here, when they start getting close again, you can see we start chopping around and holding a range until we start to expand again. And then you can see we start to rally down. And then they're far apart, right? So we're swinging, swinging, swinging. Now we're trending again. And then look what happens. Let me see if I can make this all fit in one page. There we go. That's what I was looking to do. So now once we come into this range, you can see we're tightening again. It did expand a little bit. And now we're coming right back in and closing that gap. And look what happened on that last trade. And you can see it lags, right? So we're up to here in the data. And it's starting to pull in, right? Consolidating. And even with this big move, we pretty much closed right where we opened. So for me, I'm not going to expect a lot of big wicks like this. I'm going to expect that we stay in this range. Like, this is going to be the range I'm looking at, right? And we could be ranging down still, so it could be filling in these fair value gaps as well. So really from this point up to here, that's my range for the week until otherwise we start going into a high moving market. So that's all I need to know right here. Basically, I'll just put here for notes for the week. Price is in range. So I'm not expecting anything big trending days. Not that it can't happen, but most likely we're going to stick within that range. So I'm keeping that. Now we're going to go into trading view and start. Okay, so where I start is looking at the dollar and the S&P 500. Even though I'm not trading it, I just want to see how these two are stacking up against each other, and then we'll go all the way down into the chart. So I just look at last week's price action, what it did, where we're at in the market, and then we can see we have this low down here, has not been hit yet, and we have this high up here that has not been hit yet. So if these are going to continue their trends, this is going to break through this. We had a big explosive power on the S&P 500. So I'm expecting the dollar to start to drop off next week, therefore giving us more of a push to the upside. Now, if we don't see that correlation happening and maybe the S&P starts retracing into this big move down to this block right here, we can see the dollar come up into this fair value gap some more, or even up into here and test this area again. So I have that in the back of my head, and this chart will be there to reference. Next step is I want to get any really important news for next week. So let's go to 3rd through the 9th. So Monday PMI at 10, which is 7 my time. So we have, I'm just going to put this on the other screen. I'm just filling out those boxes. And then I have an extra column for outcome, so I can reflect on the news and just write some notes about what price did, so I could start to understand some patterns if there is. And I'm going to quickly go through this, and then I'll pause it so I could fill out my information. Make sure you're doing the same so you have it in your little notes. So Tuesday are the job openings, same time, and then we also have the services of PMI on Wednesday, same time. And then we skip Thursday, nothing big here. And then Friday, most likely no trade day for me, or really small risk if my setup does happen to show. And we have non-farm payrolls and unemployment rate. So I believe most of my trading is going to be within these 3 days. Thursday, maybe. And then Friday is very cautious, right? So I'm going to go write this in my notes, do the same as well. All right, so now that I have the news marked out, and you could also, after you do the high impact news for your journal, you could just kind of quickly glance over the rest of the week and just see if there's any level 2s on there. So some more manufacturing, all that's going to come out with PMI. Job openings, quits. All right. So even on Thursday when there was no news, there still is some level 2 news on there. So there's still a chance of good movement on Thursday, even though there's no really big impact news. So, all right, back to the chart again. I don't really mark anything on this. I let this indicator, if you guys want to know, it is the liquidity swings by Lux Algo. Just helps me quickly identify the market, so I don't have to make these lines, and then they update lifetime, right, or go away when they fill in and stuff. So next, I come to these two. So now we're looking at the ES versus the NASDAQ. Let me remove all drawings. So let's zoom out a little bit. Let's also go to the daily. Remove drawings. Okay. Right now we are in a strong uptrend. So if you just connect the last two peaks right there, do the same over here, you can see we're trending up, right? So NASDAQ broke this high. S&P poked above it, but has not broken it yet. So from here, this is an area where we want to watch. Is ES going to go and push back above this high and keep going? Or is this the first sign of going below, right, and breaking this low? So we're going to watch, but with what happened, it makes me believe we're going to go up above this high, right? With all the news coming. So you could keep that in there, and then if you just want to mark up the high visually so you could see it when you come back and reference, there we go. So uptrend with that high as our target. Go down to the 4-hour, just a quick glance. Is there anything you want to see? Well, ES went through this fair value gap and is closed right at this high, so maybe we might get a little retracement before we continue. Again, NASDAQ didn't really have that explosive power, but it did fill up what was dropping off at the end, so still looking good to go to the upside. Maybe we get a little wick back in this area and then back up. That's all I look at on here. During the day, I will drop to the 15-minute or 5-minute when we're actually trading, but that's all I need for planning. Now I'm on my main chart right here, and we're on the daily, so let me remove drawings. All right. So looking at this last push from this body to this body, I know it's hard to see because I was on a white background before, but you can see the 50%. So, oh wow, you could just type. That's cool. I think that's a new little update where you just click and add text. That's actually really helpful. So anyways, the 50% of that range has not been tapped, so maybe we do go lower into this leg right here with these fair value gaps. I don't know. I'm still looking to go up. Maybe that comes later. Just a level to look at. But you can see we did go through these fair value gaps and then again close right up here in this range that I was talking about. So I'll go on a lower time frame to the 4-hour to mark it up. So we are in this range right here. Let me get the top of that. Close and then down to these lows right here. This range is where we're at. And again, our bias is pushing towards this high because of this trend we're in. So not only are we in that big, long uptrend, we have this shorter one that kind of got respected. So if we just draw it up through these lows, let me go back to the body, go through that body. So I'm going through that next low point right there. So these are the two lowest points in this whole area. So drew the line there, and again, we're still looking bullish, and I want to go above that high. So just keeping that in mind, I don't keep, I keep these on. I don't keep the actual trend on. So let's go down to the 1-hour. Now this is when the pivot points start coming into play. I've been referencing them lately just to kind of check them out. So if we go above, we have this area right here is a good area. Again, look at that high right there. So this pivot point, you can see where price has turned around a lot at, aka the pivot point. So that's an area to watch. Maybe it goes here and just pivots down, or we go through. Now we got this new area up here, which is a nice key area. So I just reference those real quick as if we're going up, and these are the take profit zones really. And on intraday, obviously I'll be taking smaller moves. But then once we break through this, I don't want to think we're going down, because if I zoom back out, we have more room to the upside, which I believe it's going to go. And even if it's going to continue down lower, if we draw out that range, we're not at the 50% yet. So I'm still, like, the chances of going through this pivot area and this high is looking good for me, even if I'm wrong on the overall trend. So let's go down to the 15. Let's turn off the pivot points now. Obviously, it's just gonna, give us those same zones. So we're in this area right here. So I'm looking Monday to make a play, maybe pull back and then break this pivot point, not this one. So let's turn that off. And then now when I go down to the lower time frames, when I'm actually day trading in the day, I could reference the higher time frame, which I have the 4-hour right now. I was messing around with it. 4-hour seems to be the best one for me. And I'll start here on the 15-minute when the market opens tomorrow. So Hope this has helped you on just kind of market breakdown, how we're working. Again, keep going through the mentorship, and we're going to cover some of the stuff I showed you in this video more in depth in the mentorship in the weeks to come when we get into more of the advanced stuff. I just wanted to get you in the habit of kind of your weekly prep and what you should be doing and getting your plans together for the week. So I hope that has helped you out. If you want to get our trading journals and all our resources, link down below, as well as any partnerships we have with Apex or Webull or M1, which we all use personally for our investing. Check those out. Helps us out. Make sure you're ready for that because it's there's a lot of risk involved in this market. So make sure you plan, and hopefully this helps you plan for the week to come. So subscribe, click that thumbs up if you haven't already, and we'll see you next week. Peace.